Hello and welcome to the No Dig Norfolk Gardener channel again. Welcome back. In today's video what I want to do is to thin out our multi-sown onions. That's why we're here in the onion bed. But just beyond that, where we harvested our remaining spinach, and then if you remember it started to go to seed, it was bolting. We've had that out of the ground, and what I want to do now is to plant our celeriac in there. So we'll start in the onion bed and thin these onions out, and as we do we'll have a lovely crop of spring onions. If you're a follower of our channel, you'll know that we multi-sow our onions. So where you've got 6s and 7s, you want to be thinning them down to about 4 or 5 so that you get decent sized bulbs. And depending on how your germination is will depend on how many you need to do. So if I take this clump here, so you twist that out of the clump, and then that leaves the rest then to grow on in the clump and to give us bulbed onions. But what it does do, it gives you a harvest of spring onions, an extra bonus of a crop. Something that you weren't expecting. So by multi-sowing your onions, yeah, you'll get the bulbed onions that you want come the end of the season, but you'll also get a little harvest in May of spring onions when you thin them out. So now I want to plant our celeriac, and as we're right towards the end of May, it's the ideal time for it to go out. And the main reason is that celeriac is not very good with frost, so you don't want to be planting it out until all danger of frost has passed. And as we've alluded to, I think in the last video, in the potato update, we've had absolutely zero frost during April and also during May. So it's a great time now to be planting these out. You know that they're not going to be harmed. Now celeriac is one of those plants that is not always in favour with people, I guess. They don't particularly know too much about it, I don't know. But it's a lot easier to grow than its cousin, celery, which does need some very careful attention to bring that onto a harvest. And once you have it in the ground, it'll come to its harvest sometime at the back end of October, through November, December, January, February. It's not really affected by frost that much unless you really get a hardy frost. But what it does have has the smell of celery. So all the things that you use celery for, whether it be in your casseroles or you're making trivets, this root can be used for that because it has the taste of celery. So it's a really valuable vegetable really to have in the garden. As you can see, I've dipped my holes, and as with all of our plants that we plant, we like to plant them nice and deeply. They'll be absolutely fine. And later on in the year, when it starts to get near its harvest time, what you'll find is that these bulbs will swell really, really large. And if you haven't grown celeriac before and have wondered about it, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because later on in the year when this is ready for harvest, we'll show you exactly what those bulbs look like and how valuable they are to you at that time of the year. And that's the celeriac planted out. The variety is Monarch. We've grown Monarch for a number of years now. There are one or two other varieties about, and one of these years I think we will probably try a different variety just to see exactly what that's like. So it just leaves me just to water these in. it's always worth giving water to plants when you first put them in, and then let them go on their way. And as I said in the previous video with the potatoes, if it's a really prolonged dry period, then yes, do give them a water. Other than that, if things are ticking along nicely, you know, as you're starting to get near its harvest, that really is a quite valuable time to water your crops. So lastly for this video, the other thing I want to do is to start getting our annual flowers out. We've already started popping the marigolds in, and this is all to help with pollination, to attract bees and all other kinds of insects into our garden. Now, as with everything else, these don't really want to go out until all danger of frost has passed. But we have had a very lucky year this year, as we've said on many occasions, in which we haven't had much in the way of frost. So in the same way that I do the vegetables, I'm just going to dib a hole. You can see the plug plant here, it needs to go in. So what I'm going to do is just tease the roots a bit so that they can escape from this plug plant and out and away into the soil. And it was just pop it into the ground. And this is a Tagetes. And there we go. What we like to do is try and plant them on the corners and a little bit further down, just to attract all those beneficial insects that will help us in our new dig garden. And as Mrs. W pointed out to me, it also makes the garden look pretty. Pop you in there, and there you go. Good girl, Poppy. I'll give them a nice drink of water to help them settle into their new homes. It's a very valuable time to be doing this, to get them off to a good start. And that is our celeriac underway. We've thinned our onions, and we've got a nice crop of spring onions to enjoy over the next few days. Now, we have one or two annual flowers, the marigolds and the Tagetes and the zinnias. So between myself and Mrs. W, we've got several plants to plant. We shall see you on the next video.